Welcome back to Round 1, the ongoing series where we play just the beginning of a new game to give you a taste of what it's like. In today's episode, we're going to be playing the 4X masterpiece, Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy, a game which is going to place its players in control of these vast interstellar civilizations. We're going to be competing with other human and alien races to explore new star systems, to research a range of different technologies, and to build starships which we will use to wage war on each other. Now, there are many different paths to victory in this game, so we're going to need to explore and plan our strategies according to the strengths and the weaknesses of our own species, while also paying very close attention to the progress and goals of the other players at the table. Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy is a revised and upgraded version of the originally released classic from 2011. So you're going to be seeing entirely updated components, art, and even gameplay throughout this session. You'll see every move that we make. And after the dust settles, join us as we discuss the entire experience and find out who came out victorious in this epic galactic confrontation. Welcome back to Round 1. Today we're going to be talking about Eclipse 2nd Edition, otherwise known as Second Dawn for the Galaxy. This is awesome. This is one of my favorite 4X games, and one of my favorite games of all time. It's a game that I've played a lot. Like most of the times, especially for us to do reviews that sit on this side of the table, getting a game to the table 2 or 3 times is progress.
Yeah, for sure.
In this case, I played this dozens of times.
You've played it dozens of times. The rest of us, in fact, Derek, by the way, Derek's here, Ryan's here,
hey, everybody.
Of course us. I've played it once.
Mm-hmm.
Derek's played it 0 times.
I haven't
Ryan's
played it either.
0 times. So Jeremy's both going to be teaching and destroying us at this game.
I feel like we are at a severe disadvantage here.
We are.
You could be. So this is the 2nd edition of the game, or the re-implementation of the game. It's coming to Kickstarter on July 10th. It's got a brand new graphical package to it. It looks completely updated and everything, from the player boards to the actual tiles themselves, the components. It looks absolutely fantastic. And what we're going to be doing today is walking through one round of the game and then breaking to the couch afterwards to talk about our experience with it, especially for you guys that have not played the game before. During this process, we're going to talk about some of the new components, and obviously you're going to get a feel for what the game plays like. So let's talk about the game itself. It is a 4X style game, and what we're doing here is that we're each representing one of the different factions in the game. There's 12 different factions, 6 of which are color-coded. And on the backs of these player boards, you have a human race, and on the other sides, you have an alien race. All the human races play pretty much the same way. They have the same starting stats and the same resources to use. Now, the alien race is where you get some of the variability within the game. They have different technologies they may start with. They have different abilities that they get to use. So let's walk through it and just talk about who we're playing right from the start. What do you got?
I'm the Eridani Empire. They're pretty cool. Like, seems like they start with a lot of money.
They
right?
start with not a lot of money, a ridiculous
They
amount
start
of
with
money.
a ridiculous amount of money, but everything I do costs more. All of my actions cost more than everybody else's. You guys get free actions. I have to pay for every action I take. So there is a little bit of a balance there.
That's true. I am the humans, or the Terran Republic. So this is one of the player boards that's going to be similar to everyone else's, but the cool difference from all of the other alien races is that I'm going to be able to move 3 times, plus when I'm converting one of the 3 different resources, I have a 2-to-1 ratio while they have a 3-to-1 ratio. So I'm able to have a little bit more flexibility with my resources.
I'm playing the Hydra in Progress. This is an alien race. One of the unique things about them is they do start with more science. They have advanced labs, which means I get to build in the advanced lab spaces on the player boards right from the start, which is huge because science allows you to do research throughout the course of the game. And the other cool thing that I have is I get to upgrade multiple times, where you guys have 1 upgrade, or some of you guys have 1 upgrade.
I have 2 upgrades.
I get to do. Oh, you have 2 upgrades?
I do have 2 upgrades.
Oh. It's research I get to do.
You get to
oh,
the
research.
That's even better.
Yeah,
so I
no.
get to research a little bit quicker than you guys.
Yeah.
So, what do you have?
Playing as the Planta, and so my cool thing is that I can start by deploying and paying for star bases. I also get to explore twice, where you have to explore once
For each action.
And then I also have to defend my plant life, because if anybody takes over, a tile or a sector that I've controlled, and I lose control of it, all of my population dies
Automatically.
off. Just automatically. You don't even have to attack it.
Yeah, that's normally something that has to be attacked after combat, but For you,
Correct.
your plants, your trees, you're just going to be
Right.
burned down, I guess.
The other cool thing about you too is that each place that you control at the end of the game provides more victory points, one more
Exactly.
victory point. So you want to spread out as
So I want to
quickly as
spread out,
possible.
but I also need to defend myself. So I feel like there's going to be some exploration kind of turtling. So
Exactly.
We'll see how that works.
So the game itself sets up in this way. We have a 4-player game set up. Each of us has our own particular starting star system placed on the board. Now, it's going to be placed, if you look at this diagram, you have the center defense system in the center. This is kind of a place that we all can go to and explore, but it's heavily defended. But it provides a lot of victory points for players. Around this is Sector 1. We are on Sector 2, and around that would be Sector 3. And these are going to be filled in with tiles as we explore through the course of the game. Also, each of us is going to populate that. So it means we're going to have one of our influence cubes on there, signifying that we have control of that particular area. We're also going to populate it with particular population cubes, which could be your science, materials, or money, depending upon the planets that are on that area and what you can populate. So if you're looking at mine right from the start, I get to populate 1 money cube and an advanced science because I have that unlocked on my player board itself.
Yeah, and what's really cool about that is as you put those population cubes out throughout the game, through those 3 different resources, you're going to be collecting those resources more depending on how you populate and how you explore.
Looking at the player board itself, we should probably explain that as well. Across the top of each player's player boards, it's going to show you the 4 different types of things that you can build through the course of the game. These are your ships. You have your interceptors, your cruisers, your dreadnoughts, and your star bases. Your 3 ships are allowed to move and progress or make progress to the board by exploring. However, your star base is a stationary defense system. Some of us can build those right from the start, you guys,
Yep.
and some of us cannot, Ryan and I. So we'll have to learn that technology through the course of the game. Each of these blueprints also has a number of different tiles that can be placed on it, along with pre-printed things telling you your initiative in combat, how much science you may have, how much movement you may have, what kind of weapon systems are built into it, and all of these can be upgraded through the game with ship parts according to the technologies that you build across the bottom of your player board.
Yeah, and you probably can't see this from the cameras, but aside from the differences that we talked about already, there is a ton of differences between these different races.
Yeah.
My ships all have very specific little differences than Ryan's and Jeremy's and Derek's, and vice versa. And that applies to a lot of different things on the board.
Yeah, also when you look at your player board, it's going to show you your race, what your starting stats will be as far as your resources that you get to use. Again, those resources are science, materials, and money. Your science is used to research new technologies onto your player board. Your materials are used to build the different types of ships along with orbitals and monoliths, and your money is used to pay for influence. Now across the bottom of your board, you have influence cubes. This is how the whole game works. This is the crutch of the game itself. By taking actions on your turn, you're spending these influence cubes in one of your 6 different actions across the bottom. At any time during the round, you can pass, and what the last cube or what the last disc shows is what you have to pay according to the money that you have stored up. If you aren't able to do that, you're going to have to convert resources or lose population on the player board itself.
Yeah, you don't want to lose money for sure in this game. The influence discs are used for your actions. They're also going to be depleted as you explore and put influence discs out on the board. So at a certain point, you're going to be spending some money no matter what. So it all comes down to how many actions do I want to take? Do I want to push it? Do I have the money to push it? That sort of thing.
We're not going to explain all 6 of the actions right now because you're going to get a feel for them once we actually start playing. However, how it works is on a player's turn, they're going to take one of their discs, place it on one of these 6 actions, and they're going to take that action and it's going to progress to the next player. We're going to keep going around until a player passes. When a player passes, that player is going to take this start player action. That means they're going to be the start player on the next round. They're going to get 2 money at that point, and then they're going to flip their action tile over to the other side. This is the cool thing about the game too. When you pass, you're not out for the round. There's still 3 actions that you can take. However, they're reduced benefits from them, and you are still spending your influence to be able to do them. So they're more reactionary type things like moving or building or upgrading your ships to be able to react to people doing things that are still within the round
Yeah,
itself.
it's a nice way to keep people who've passed a little bit more engaged in the round.
Yep,
Right.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, so are you guys ready to start playing?
I think so.
I think so. I'm not, but let's go.
All right, so all of us are going to flip it
dive
over
in.
to our action side. I've decided I want to go first just because.
Of course.
And you know, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one of my discs over from the left side over to explore.
What
so
level
give me
are
a
you
level.
looking at?
I'm going to do a level 1. I'm going to go right here. And basically what you're doing is you're pointing to the area you want to explore. That explore area has to have a wormhole on it, meaning that you can travel from this location to this location. Also, to explore, you have to have control of the area that you are on, or a ship with no other contending ships in that area. So technically I could explore here, 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 or here, and I'm deciding in this point. So I flip over the tile, and this is beautiful. This couldn't get any better for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spin this in a way that makes sense for me.
Jeremy stacked
You want to go that way.
I
You want to go
did
that way.
not stack this.
That way.
So what happens at this point is I can actually, since there's no contending ships, there's a couple things that can happen when these flip over. Number one, there could be ancient guardians that could be placed on this, along with discovery tiles. Those will prevent you from being able to do any actions until you move in there and destroy those ships and explore. However, since this is an uncontended area, I can immediately take one of my discs and be able to populate that area. So now I control that area, and I still have 0 money to pay. But my turn's not over yet. There's some other things I can do. I can populate these areas as well. So I'm going to send one of my colony ships. I'm going to flip it over, and that means that I can populate these 2 areas, 1 per thing. So I'm going to take my money, put it on the money one. I'm going to flip over another colony ship and take a science and put it on the science. I mean, this is a really good, strong, powerful first move because it allows me to be able to get some reoccurring money at the end of the round and be able to populate some areas. But also, you guys can go into these areas and attack me because they're completely undefended at this point.
Now, if you control that at the end of the game, my understanding is that you'll score 2 victory points for controlling that.
So each of the tiles has built-in victory points according to whether or not you control it at the end of the game. So I'm done. It's your turn.
All right, well, I'm taking a similar action, and I'm going to explore as well. I would like to go, I'm going to go here, which should be a 2.
Yeah,
it is a level 2, because I'm going as far away from Jeremy as possible.
Yeah, just come over here. We'll all
I'm going to be
ally
handing
up.
out my diplomat tokens. So this does have one of the
Ancient ships.
And he can also
Ancient
choose
ships.
to discard the tile. If you discard the tile, it ends your turn immediately. It's not advisable by any means, but
that is a tough one to get through.
you want to do it? All right.
I don't want to discard
So
it.
you're going to take one of these discovery tiles and put it face down on the tile, along with one of the ships. Now you're going to notice, I'm not sure we can really talk about this. This is not an ancient ship, it's another type of thing, which could be introduced later.
During the
But
Kickstarter.
for now, we'll consider it an ancient
ship.
guardian.
And that
Ancient
discovery
Guardian.
tile too has 2 victory points on the back of it. If you take that eventually and keep it to the end of the game, it's 2 points. However, the other side's going to have an ability or a power that you can use one time if you want as well.
Right. Now you have the cool ability of exploring twice with each action, so he gets to explore again.
I do, and I'm going to do that, and I'd like to take the 1, and I'm going to go right here.
All right.
And there's another ancient ship.
All right. So you can connect that to one of your wormholes and throw an ancient ship on it.
I will, and I'm cutting you off there.
So I can't get in there. That's fine.
Hey.
Nice.
So travel in this game or movement has to be done through the wormholes when they connect from 2 tiles that you see here. However, you cannot travel from this area to this area.
No token there.
No
though.
token at that one.
Yeah,
No
no
token
token,
there.
just an ancient ship.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's nice the way the wormholes work because if you want a turtle, like you said at the beginning of the game, that can help.
Now, these also are not going to attack us. They are defending the sector they're in, so I can actually come this way now, and I've kind of blockaded this off, so if you want to come at me,
That's
you got to
true.
fight through the
There
ancient
you go.
ships.
Thank you for sharing your strategy.
I'm just, hey, for the camera.
Each of these ships is also represented by one of these tiles telling you exactly
Right.
what the hull damage, what kind of weapons it fires, any shields, and what
Right.
initiative it may have in combat.
That is my first impression of that move,
All right,
is that I
so
kind of
I'm
have a
gonna-
defense system.
I'm doing something a little different. I'm not going straight for the Explorer. I'm actually going to go for the build.
All right.
And what I want to build is a cruiser, which costs 5
Yes, 5 materials.
Now, I have 4 materials,
Okay.
which means I can't build that cruiser.
Uh-huh.
However, I do have my trade ability, which I can trade anything at a 3-to-1 rate to get 1.
All right.
So I'm going to trade in 3 money
Spend
to
all
get
4 of your
1
max.
of that, make it 5.
Yep.
And then I'll spend all of them to build a cruiser. And I'll put my cruiser out there.
So you can build a cruiser in any space that you control. So you control that area.
Yeah, now I do have 2 build actions, but I'm out of materials. I don't want to spend the money
Okay.
to do that, so I'm just going to take the 1.
All right.
All right. So I want to try something else. I was actually considering research, but I have absolutely nowhere near enough because I don't have the money you have. So I am also going to explore.
Okay.
I am going to explore a 2 because I'm going to try just to
2
let
would
you
be,
know.
This would be
this
a
would-
3.
Is that a 3?
That would be a 3.
Okay, a 3 then.
Oh.
I'm going to take the 3.
Oh.
That works. And that's
So
And that's a
gonna get
discovery
a
tile,
discovery tile.
but no ancient ship guarding it.
So you can immediately populate that and take
Yep.
that tile.
I will take this. And now, do I have to use this?
Immediately
if
you wish
I
use that
want
action.
to?
That's correct. Or you can keep it on the 2 victory point for the end of the game.
Ah, interesting. I think I am going to use it, but I'm going to need some help understanding it, Jeremy.
Okay.
I'm going to put my influence disc there.
Yes.
This is a Flux Shield.
Okay.
Is this something that I place
On
on
your
a
ship right now.
on a particular ship?
Any one of your ships is going to have that. So when you upgrade one of your ships, in this case, you got a Flux Shield, which means it has 3 shields built into it, which is
wow.
fantastic.
That's
But
solid.
it does require 2 energy, so you have to have a ship that can
So I
support
don't.
that.
I don't
Power
even
it.
have that right now, right?
You have 3 energy on this one, and you only have 1 energy taking up, so you could do it on your star
I am
bases.
going to do that because I had planned on trying to make impenetrable star bases, so that
That's a
will
good
help.
start.
So no one
That
can,
will help.
So no
That
one can
will
get to
help
you?
because I can build star bases right off the bat.
You
Yeah.
can. You can.
So that's my turn.
I think I'm feeling really lucky with my
Oh,
explorer.
I can flip a colony though over, right? Like I
You
can.
can colonize
Yes.
that.
I am. I'm going to flip a colony ship over
It's going to do
and
materials.
place a materials, which is exactly what I'm wanting.
So one of the cool things about the game, there's 3 different types, as we mentioned before. All of these different star systems either have brown, orange, or pink, representing those 3 different materials. So when you're
Right.
colonizing, you're taking them from one of those 3 different areas on your control board itself. As I said, I think I need to explore again. This just seems too
Feeling lucky?
powerful for me.
What are you doing?
And this time, I'm going to go towards.
that's a-
you know what?
To be a 2,
I
right?
kind of want to make a. Let me go here. Give
Go
me
for a
s-
3?
Yes. This is just beautiful. All right, I will go like this. I'm
Wow.
going to go here, and this is an advanced science, which I already have researched.
Which you start with that.
So, but if you notice, I only have 1 thing here. So I will turn that into science and use science. I cannot populate this area because I'm out of colony ships. The only way I can get colony ships back is by doing influence or by waiting until the end of the round, in which all of my ships will flip back. Now, the cool thing about you is that you have 4 colony ships.
I do.
So, in
So
that
I'm
case, you
hoping
would've
to
been able do
populate
that.
very quickly here. So I am also going to take the explore action again because I did not like running into those ships. Let's take a 3. All right, that's better.
That is nice.
And we're going to go this way.
Why? Now, he just pulled another thing that's very similar to David. He discovery tile, but he has a gray planet. The cool thing about gray planets is when you populate them, you can pull from any one of your 3 areas.
Okay.
Doesn't have
So
to be.
I'm going to take a look at this, and I'm going to need, what is this?
All right, so that is going to upgrade your ship to be
Okay.
able to hold more areas
Oh,
on it.
nice.
Oh, all right. I'm going to go with the 2 points.
All right, and you can populate that.
I will populate that.
You have to put an influence cube on it first.
Yep. And then.
And flip on one of your many colony ships over if you want to populate.
Oh yeah, no, it's gonna happen. And
Now,
then-
this is the question: what
What-
resource?
exactly. We're gonna go with science, as Bill Nye would say, science.
Yes.
And you get 1 more at explore.
I'm gonna do it. We're gonna go here. This would be a 3.
That's another
Is
3,
anyone
right?
else already
you can't-
annoyed with
yeah,
Derek's
you can't.
exploration?
It's pretty good, but
Yeah.
he dies quick.
I do die quickly. That's why I'm
And
trying
another
to.
ship is there?
Yeah, this is another.
Ooh, you're not gonna set up a blockade for Jeremy? Oh yeah, you have
I
to. Put it
well,
there,
I have to
guess.
go
Yeah,
here,
yeah, yeah.
right? So I want to leave myself options if I do decide to try to
And
take
you're going to
that.
put a discovery face down on it. All right.
Whoops, not
And
2
1
of them.
ship.
Nice try, Derek.
Sorry, 2 of them. Yeah.
And an ancient guardian. All right.
All right.
You have a lot of friendly ancient ships over there.
I'm going to upgrade, actually. I'm going to grab a plasma cannon and a Gauss shield. And I can do this because I start with those technologies already researched.
Yeah, so it's very important to understand this part of the game. Like the technologies, when you research the technologies, you're buying them with science from this game tray that
cannon.
you see over here, and you're placing them on your board. That only gives you access to be able to
Gauss shields.
upgrade your ships or to be able to buy new components. The upgrade action actually allows you to place those components from those technologies onto your ships, as long as you have the energy in order to
Right.
hold those particular components.
So this still means I roll 1 orange die instead of 1 yellow die.
Yes,
And an
and-
orange die has the capability of doing 2 damage instead of just 1. Is that correct?
It just yes, and it has 2 energy though, so you have to make sure that you can hold that 2
Right,
energy.
I produce 4 actually.
Yeah, you could place it there, and now you're going to be rolling both.
Right.
Yeah, that's the question: is how do I want to do this? Because I have the shield to come in too, so I can either replace my cannon with a better cannon, or have 2 cannons firing.
It's pretty good.
However,
It is.
then I'd have to replace the shield. I'd have to cover something else up.
Yes.
So I lose my
Energy,
energy, which you can't do. I'd lose my drive, which means I couldn't move.
you could use your targeting computer.
I could lose my targeting computer, but I kind of like having the targeting computer. So let's just do this.
Well, I'm going to build anyway, and just build once.
Okay.
So this is going to go down to 1, because I'm going to spend 3 to build a starbase.
Yep.
And I can build that anywhere I have influence,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
So I'm going to build a starbase here.
Perfect.
A new, big, impenetrable starbase.
Nice.
I
That's a good one.
think I am going to go ahead and do an influence action, which is going to turn over 2 of these. I'm going to spend 1 of them immediately, and I am going to place a orange on this area here, and I am done.
I'm going to explore again.
Dang, man.
I'm going to go here.
That's
This is going to
what
be
is
a
that, 2?
fairly significant map by
It's a
the end
2.
of round 1.
Yeah, this is the power of the planter race, though. This is what they do.
That's exactly what I hoped for.
You got the match. You have to
Yeah,
line
you
up
have to
those wormholes.
line
Oh,
up wormholes.
right.
From where you explored from.
There we go.
And I
But
can't get there.
there's no,
Yep.
so I
That's a
can
great tile, too.
go here,
Yep.
and then I will double.
Well, you can only do
Oh.
1 because you don't have
I don't have, right.
advanced.
Well,
either
there
one
are
of those.
2 there, though, correct?
One of them is advanced and one of them is
Okay, I don't
regular.
have the advanced, right.
So once you learn the tech, you could.
And then you get to explore again, but you have nowhere you can.
Yep. I can
Yeah.
go here.
Oh, is that a level 3?
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that what you want, a 3?
Or I could go here, either way, but
So
yeah.
that's a question,
Which
Jeremy.
one are
Can
you
the
doing?
map effectively
Yes.
build out as far as you want it to?
I thought only three rings, right? Or can it go?
It's
The
just
third
level
can
3
be
and
infinite.
beyond.
Level 3 and beyond.
Okay.
So here we go again. Like this.
Look at you.
Actually,
Yeah, you're
hold
gonna
on.
have to pay for all these influence cubes, though. Don't forget.
Yeah, I know. And then that's going to be orange. with
You have
another-
to influence it first.
Yep, influence.
Now you have to put one of your influence
Oh,
cubes.
correct.
Yep.
And then
And flip one of your ships. Yep.
that's all I got.
All right. Well, I'm going to join you guys in exploring because I haven't explored at all.
Okay.
So I'm going to go for a level 1 tile. Doesn't look like I get much choice here, so
Oh, it's beautiful. 2 science.
that's it right there. I will take one of these off and drop it on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I will use both of my colony ships and take
Science.
2 science there and there. Now, I can't move any ships in for free when I do that, can I?
No, it's a move.
No, that would be a
action.
move. All done?
I'm all done.
Against my better judgment, I'm going to take another action and explore.
That's what I did.
Okay.
I thought, just go for it.
So I'm going to explore. This would be a level 2.
That would be a level 2.
I'll explore a level 2. So let's see if we can do this right.
Ancient tech. And
Something like that.
Oh, dang. So the only way into that tile is from your...
Yep.
hmm.
Now there are advanced technologies called wormhole generators that will allow you to travel from one space that doesn't have
Oh,
something
nice.
else
Okay.
into a wormhole. So if you can get that tech, your travels kind of open up. I'm passing at this point. I'm gonna take my thing,
That's what I was hoping to
pass.
consider doing.
and I'm gonna get this and immediately get 2 money.
Yep.
1, 2.
I passed as well.
I am not passing, actually. I'm going to explore again because I
Okay.
think I could get a better tile. Now, I can come off of this because this is a level 1 tile. Because I have presence here, I can go to another level 1 tile, right?
Yes.
That one seems pretty good. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'll come in there with my influence cube.
Okay. And you can.
And I will
colonize
use my last colony ship
for the money. Yep.
for the money.
All right.
And I think I'm gonna... You guys already all passed?
No, it's his turn now.
It's my
Oh.
turn.
David.
Now, at what point can I suggest an alliance? Now
Any
that we're
point
next
now,
to each
try-
other?
Now that we're next to each other, we could.
Now that we're next to each other,
Yeah.
we can?
Yes.
Well, I'm going to do that right now.
I'll do it.
You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So these two players are going to make an alliance with one another. This is how this works. They have two areas that are adjacent to each other, connected through a wormhole. At that point, they are going to take their token, showing their race, and give it to the other player. When they do that, they're getting 1 victory point at the end of the game as long as they can hold that tile on the right side of their board. Then they're allowed to take any one of their population cubes and place it on there. The trick here is that they are never allowed to combat each other, so they're not going to get any victory points from fighting each other for the rest of the game. If they do decide to combat each other, one of them is going to be a traitor, whoever initiates that combat, meaning they'll get -2 victory points and never be able to make another alliance for the rest of the game. So they're kind of giving up the ability to make combat, and combat's important because you get victory points from being in combat.
Combat with each other, at least.
Right.
Correct.
Sure.
And it should be pointed out, we could take a cube off of our resources and place it on there. Ryan, what one did you choose?
I chose materials because I wasn't pretty low on materials.
I'm going to take some money because I'm always afraid of running out of money.
Okay. So it's my turn, and I can upgrade, build, or movement. Even though I've passed, I think I will do a movement. And I'm going to take my ship, which has a drive of 1, and I'm going to move it to this location now.
I will do the same.
Don't forget to you have to
Oh.
move your.
You get to move your token.
Oh no, that's move
means
token.
you're gonna have
Yeah,
7
that's
payment.
7 payment. That's not gonna be good. I'll just can't take that.
So he's
I
out.
see you though.
You see me
I've
now?
still
I
got
see
I've
you,
still got the
Jeremy.
money, so I'm going to explore again because
Oh man.
I can pay for it. I figure.
Yeah,
Let's
I need
explore
to.
starting
I need
off.
to not spend all my money, or at least try to.
All right, so that's going to get a discovery tile and another ship. Throw that on there, and then throw the ship on there. All right, David.
Well, I think I'm just going to move.
'Kay.
And I can't move my starbase, but I'm going to move
Right.
my little interceptor. I'm going
It
to go
has
ahead
1
and
drive, so I can just move here.
Now, since we're allied, he
It's
can
got
move.
1
he can,
movement.
Yeah.
You can't end in my space though.
Oh.
Right. If you
Oh,
end in
that's
this
right.
space,
We'll
start a war
you will
with
start a
each
war
other.
between you.
Well, you know what then? I'm going to back up. I'm not going to move,
gonna
and I'm
pass?
going to pass.
All right, so everyone's passed.
I haven't yet, but I think that this is the right time to pass. Yeah, I'm
I'm
passing.
going to put my move up here. All right, so we've all passed.
We
Now
have.
we're going to do the upkeep phase. We're going to use any of our remaining colony ships if we so wish.
I don't have any.
No one's
left.
doing that.
Nope.
Now you're going to pay for your income. So we'll look at this first. I have
13.
5 on my board right here, and my income is 6. So I can pay for it, which means I'm simply going to move up 1 space. Does that make sense?
I
Oh,
think so.
so it happens simultaneously.
Well, you can
No,
pay
you
for it
have to be able
first.
to pay for it.
So I can pay
Okay.
for it, and then I move up 6.
Yes.
So it's the same
Right.
difference. Yep.
Sure.
Okay, so at this point, I don't have a conversion rate that's going to allow me to pay for my income, or at least the upkeep. So 5, I only have enough to pay for 4. So I'm going to have to lose a sector,
Yes.
right?
So you can give up any one of those sectors that you so wish and place that influence cube back onto your player board.
Right.
But he still has to lose all of his resources first?
We'll do that first. Go ahead and take one of the planets you want to
You
give
take
up.
that influence off first because now you have to pay less money.
Yes.
Sure.
Right. So, man, that's a tough call.
Well, they're pretty much the same thing.
They are.
So, yep, that's going to go back onto that, and then your influence is going to come back up. Now you only have to pay 3.
Right, which I can make that
1,
conversion
2, and then pay, yep,
just like that.
and you're good. Now what do you
I
have over
owe 10.
there? Yep,
I'm sorry, I owe
Whoa.
13.
13.
So I'll be at 10,
Yep.
and then I'm getting 4 money.
Oh,
Yeah,
and I
that's
get my
how I'm
income.
getting
So I
just-
go up to
Just a
3.
reminder, Ryan started with 26, and we all had like about 3.
Yeah.
I did start with 26. I'm now at 14.
He's
now,
over
so
there
I've already
wheeling
used-
Now he's at a
Zealand.
measly 14.
Only 14.
You're done?
Yep, that's
All right.
fine.
I only have to pay 2. So I'm going to pay 2. Boom, boom.
But how much did you have, David?
And then I'm going to make 4, which is what we do now.
Mhm.
Yep.
Everyone go ahead and get your normal income from
Right.
your science. So add your science in,
4.
and add your materials in. Everyone now is also going to flip over all of their colony ships because those are going to be able to be used again. And all of your actions that you took this turn, either from your past actions or from here, are going to come back to your player board. You're going to notice you're going to have less actions because some of your stuff is now on the map. So
Right.
those influence actions are going to
Things will start costing money
things are
sooner,
gonna start
right?
costing more, yes. Then what we're going to do is no one bought any research tiles, but you are going to add 7 more. So in that white bag, you're going to draw 7 and place them in there. You're going to reorganize them according to the cost of them, and we'll do that off camera, of course.
Sure.
And we're going to advance to round 2. And we're going to keep playing. We'll try to talk about the combat at the end so we can give you guys
Yeah.
an idea of how the combat works. But right now, this is very typical of the first round of the game. People are exploring, establishing their locations, building their ships up, because there will be combat taking place very soon.
Oh, yeah.
Because you get a wide variety of victory points for combat. Now let's talk also real briefly about how you get victory points in this game, because that's very important before you go into round 2. Your technologies. The more technologies that you build out, as they progress, you get victory points for them. Making alliances. We saw 2 players make an alliance. Those are worth a victory point at the end of the game. Combat's going to allow you to draw within that black bag, and there's victory points depending upon, well, the ratio is 1 to 4, but the more ships you destroy in combat and the larger those ships are, the more you can draw, so your ratio of getting higher value tiles is better. You're also going to get victory points for any of the monoliths that you build. Monoliths have to be researched with very specific technologies. They're a stationary thing that's going to stay within this particular star system, so you have to defend them. And probably one of the most important ways to score victory points outside of the discovery tiles, which some of you guys collected, is actually having these locations at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Right now I'm sitting on 7 victory points. If I can hold these through the course of the game, those are going to add to my point total at the end. So right now we're going to break. We're going to go to the live stream. So if you guys are watching this live, obviously this is done by this point.
Yeah.
Check it out, and then come back at the end and we'll talk about the entire experience of Eclipse Second Dawn for the Galaxy.
Welcome back. We are sitting here on the chairs right now, ready to talk about our full experience. I'd like to tell you that I actually won the game, but I didn't. We'll go through our scores here in a second, but we've got Jeremy and Ryan and Derek here, not at the table, talking about our full experience playing all of Eclipse.
All right, so first experience for both of you guys.
Yeah.
This is your second game.
Second
Correct.
game.
Let's just talk about it first. Again, this is the second edition of the game. There's a lot involved. This is basically a feature night game. It's not a short experience. It's about a 2-hour.
Not a filler game.
Yeah, it's not a filler game. It's going to take all night. It's about, like I said, 2 hours. The cool thing is it's been truncated, and I kind of felt that playing the game as many times as I have. The game does feel shorter. For you guys, the first time playing it, what did you think?
Well, I guess for me, comparing it to other 4X games I've played, which mostly is going to be like Twilight Imperium. I've played a ton of Twilight Imperium. In that game, I love a lot of things about it, but it does drag on. And with Eclipse being only 8 rounds, it definitely does not drag. Like,
Well, sure, if you're sitting in for a game of Twilight, you're going to be playing 6 to 8 hours.
It's very much a streamlined space opera.
Right,
And you can
yeah.
definitely feel that.
it has a lot. It hits the same beats, I think, just in a much smaller, faster way. So that I like a lot. Like I like that you can sit down and be done for 2 hours. You're not going to have a 6 to 8 hour commitment.
There's a lot of Euro-y mechanics too that are
Absolutely.
enjoyable for a lot of people who may not typically be into that sort of game, because the way the resources work and the dynamics of moving things off your player board and out onto the board, and how that affects the money you have to pay and the resources that you're gaining during the income round is a fun thing for Euro players.
Yeah.
Right. And as somebody who's never played before, I felt like picking up was pretty easy. So like the complexity level of the rules was not difficult. There's a lot of depth to the game though, and a lot of intricacies and nuances. So as you understand the game more, I definitely feel like it's a game that you're going to want to keep getting to the table.
Yeah, it really is something. It's easy to play.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
the playing is actually
Extremely.
easy. It's
Absolutely.
very difficult to master
Yes.
because where the knowledge of the game comes in is knowing all of those things that could potentially come out, how
they work together.
Yeah, how the dynamic that exists between just having had experience. You need to have played the game a few times to determine, like, okay, am I prepared to go into this area? Because early on, I went into a couple areas clearly not prepared, and you can lose a lot of your ships in the blink of an eye.
I think it's the balance.
Yes.
And I think that's what you're getting at. The more you play it, the more you're going to understand that
Yeah.
balance between 3 different resources, when to explore, when to build. I mean, that's just something you have to practice.
And that was my failure with the exploration. Was I went very heavy
Spoiler
exploration
alert.
that first round.
I think that's super important too, that you mentioned the balance within the game. This is a game that has to be experienced to understand the game, but also the other cool thing I like about this is that it's very dependent upon the players at the table. This isn't a game that you can sit down and just do your own thing. You're constantly going to be interacting with other players. The way that the hexes get flipped over is going to completely determine your strategy from one game to the next. And it's very important to manage the economy of not only your own systems that you control, but also dynamically pushing back against those other players that are maybe expanding too quickly. having too much control over areas. And if players don't do that, they're quickly going to realize how far behind in the game they can get.
So with you being my neighbor, I definitely felt that because I expanded very quickly, and you noticed that. So it kind of painted a target on my back, but it also opened up some opportunities for you to sneak in later in the game after I had definitely overcommitted myself, and really my economy and my whole engine could not keep up with how fast I had explored.
It was really interesting too because you were building up. The way the tiles come out is really cool too. When you explore and you're able to position those how you want with the wormholes, you effectively built up a barricade of no wormholes, except for one little area where
I was able
you
to
were
sneak
finally
through.
able
placed
to
a
sneak
tile,
through.
and then you got the
Wormhole
generator, so
Yeah.
it didn't really matter anyway. But between the tile placement and then also how the ancient ships can come out too, kind of build a natural barricade between people. Ryan and I allied really early, and we kind of honored that for the most part.
Yeah, we did. We really did. But the problem was, just like you were saying, Derek built a wall that I couldn't get around.
Right.
The only way I was gonna able to progress was through you.
Yeah.
And so eventually we had to fight because Derek blocked me off. So
Yeah, and I pulled that trigger first.
You did pull the
It
trigger
didn't work
first.
out well for me, but it was interesting because, you couldn't really get over to Derek. I did not want to get anywhere close to Jeremy, just to taunt him into my area. So you have to do with what you can in your area. I wish I'd explored a little bit more to take it just so that I could plant some things down and score those points later in the game. But I got to a point where I couldn't really even explore anymore because of the tiles.
Yeah, the more experience you get with the game, obviously the better you get, especially early game. There are some natural strategies that go into it. You want to explore early, find some strongholds that you want to build into, and then expand off those areas. But again, that's the nature of Eclipse. Like it's completely player controlled. As you start to expand, you start to realize you're going to be butting heads with players. One of the things I want to steer to real quick too was, after playing as many times as I have, I still love that aspect of building out your player board. I think it's one of the very unique things about this game, is as you go through the rounds, you start to build out your technology trees, which open up ship upgrades. So you really start to specialize in a couple different things through the course of the game. Especially you had some very powerful ships towards the course of the game.
I basically, what I did was I took I basically abandoned 3 of my 4 ships and put almost every upgrade I got onto my big dreadnoughts, which you could only have 2. But when I had them maxed out, they were able to just basically stomp everything in their path as they went through.
Yeah, and I let you effectively sit there and do that turn after turn and upgrading because I wasn't really doing much to interact with you or to change things for you. I mean, I think part of it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is getting in there, disrupting some of his resources that he's pulling so that he's not getting some of those things. Is there a lot of jockeying generally in this game?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of it, again, is placing those tiles so that to make it difficult for you to do that.
Yeah.
Because I needed you to come all the way out and around and in from the top.
Right.
Which I wasn't able to block you off completely like Derek did to Jeremy.
The way the map builds out based on player decisions is really interesting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
A very dynamic map, and it can. I really
And that
like
allows
that.
players to kind of customize they want to play. Do you want to play aggressive?
Right.
Do you want to have diplomatic relationships with other players? Do you want to turtle up and try to just keep the victory points you have from the sectors that you own? Again, very player driven. One other thing I want to talk about before we get into the results of the game is one of the big problems for anybody that plays Eclipse is just the setup and the breakdown time. And that's always a problem because you have so many pieces in this game. There's literally 1,000 pieces in the game.
Yeah.
These things, now, they've started working with game trays, and these things are phenomenal. These are prototype versions, but these control boards are awesome. Like, these are going to sit off to the side of your player board. They're going to house all the different cubes. They're going to be recessed. They have tokens that go around the outside that mark your strategy. But the other cool thing is, and we kind of showed this during the game, but not really, is that below this board, it's going to snap into your actual supplies. And all these things inside here are going to hold all the things for the individual players.
Yeah, that is sweet.
This makes
That is
the game
awesome.
incredibly simple to set up and to break down. Not only this, but the actual box itself is going to have trays to house all of the supply tokens. It's going to house all the technology tokens.
Yeah, well, even the tray we had, which again was prototype for the technology tokens, one of us made the comment, it's really nice to be able to
hand it off.
hand that off around the table.
Absolutely.
So, because you really need to kind of spend some time getting to know those
Sometimes you have
technology
to study
tokens.
them.
I don't know if anyone out there has played Wasteland Express. I know we've played
Yep.
it. That's the best thing about Wasteland is just popping it out and you're done. You just set everything out. I'm so excited to
Yeah.
get Eclipse and have that because it would be a bear.
Absolutely.
It is a bear. I
It'd be
mean, after the
intimidating
game, we
for
had
sure.
to put everything into baggies and put those baggies aside and
Yeah.
sort it all. This just makes it very, very easy, not only to put away, but to set back up and play again.
Yeah, and I know some people might think that's silly because there's a lot of people out there thinking like, well, let's talk about the game. But that, you can't deny the fact that ease of setting up and tearing down is a huge
How
element,
likely-
especially
I
with
don't
a
wanna
game like this.
Mansions of Madness first edition never got it to the table because it took an hour just to set up the game.
Yeah.
Little things like that can make a big difference.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. All right, so the results of the game, you guys want to know how everything
do you wanna
panned
jump-
out.
we
I won. Thanks for joining us.
Actually, what was your score? Let's go from
My
lowest.
score was more than 0 and less than 10. Less than 10. I scored 9 points.
Let's talk about what happened for you too. You, your strategy early was to turtle up maybe a little bit
Sure.
and find a couple different spots.
Yeah,
the
well, I was
problem is you didn't
exploring-
have the ability to expand out rapidly,
I
which
was
is a big
exploring
problem for you.
and what I didn't happen to get some tiles that gave me much in the way of any of the resources that I was looking for. Unlike you, where you had a really good, strong one resource.
Yeah.
You started with a lot of money, so that was a good, strong resource for you. One of the things I was going to try to do was build. And I did successfully a couple times, and then I went in sort of a little too boldly and got
That's when you
destroyed
start,
in a couple fights.
Yeah, I mean that's when you learn very quickly that not just having the quantities of ships, but having the right kind of build outs for the ships as well.
the right
That's when you need
upgrades
to
and
really
shields.
upgrade your ships, research the right kind of technologies, then upgrade those ships
Yeah.
with the right kind of ship parts. So you go in there knowing that you have the right targeting computers, you have shields, you have an X number of cannons to be able to deal with
Yeah.
all those things effectively.
mean,
Because it can set you back.
It's only an 8-round game, but I think I spent 6 of those 8 rounds just researching and upgrading things, and then I really only fought for the last 2 rounds.
Yeah,
You
well,
were
you'd build up.
building up. You had a very strong.
Your 2 dreadnoughts were insane.
That was
Yeah,
my
they
whole
were
Like, I
strategy.
mean, they were ridiculous. And then your ships by the end, too, were pretty solid.
Yeah,
with the missiles.
I did some missile strategy at the end. Was able to conquer a couple different territories. I know that I got you pretty bad. You're playing the
did.
planter race, which is a great race for
Right.
expansions because you can start building out very quickly. But you have to control those. So your other problem is you weren't balancing with the right types of ships to defend them. So I was able to
Right.
come in there, take those, and when the planter race loses influence, their population dies as well. So there's that balance of I'm getting a lot of victory points from spreading out quickly, but I also have to defend them really well.
But
Right,
you still,
and
you still scored more
his-
points than David, right?
I did.
Yes, he
I
scored
did.
13?
I scored 13.
13
so-
points.
So what happened there? What do you think your biggest downfall was? I know we talked about this a little bit.
It definitely was expanding too quickly.
Yeah.
The rapid expanding and not being able to set myself up where my economy could really match my expansion. And so I definitely would not expand as quickly next time, but I definitely think that is a very strong ability that the planter race has. And it definitely needs to be utilized, but it needs a very keen person who's played with that race.
You have
a
to
few
expand,
times.
defend,
Right,
expand,
it's a
defend.
push and pull,
Yeah.
and you have to. There's a lot of strategic timing to
Yeah.
when you need to expand and when you need to pull back and defend.
Yeah, what people might not have realized just from watching was it doesn't even sink in until you play it, is that the same discs that you use to pay for your actions are going out to the planets.
Yeah.
So not only are you paying more overall, but now every action you take costs more
Right.
because you have so many
And
planets.
that's what set me back so quickly. Is I expanded so fast, I lost so many of those action cube or disc markers, and so I was paying more for them too early in the game, where I didn't have enough money to pay for them, like you would have with you starting with as much as you did.
Yeah, I ended up with 37 points. So I came in second. I thought I did pretty well. My problem was I didn't go into combat fast enough. I waited until the last 2 rounds to really attack you or to attack
Right.
some of the ancient ships. If you start attacking those ancient ships, you're getting discovery tokens. Those discovery tokens lead to more resources or technologies or even straight up victory
And
points.
that's exactly how I think that was a big part of your
That was a
win.
big
Yeah.
part of your.
that was a big.
strategy.
How many points
big
did you
part-
end up
I ended
with?
with 44.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too far off
No.
between us. I think the reason I was able to pull that out was, well, Derek, for one thing, the way he blocked off that side of the board, there was
Yeah.
I
No
didn't have-
competition there.
no
for you guys.
competition there, and I didn't have to worry about him coming down.
Right.
So I was kind of able to focus on us. And I
Yeah.
know you were totally fine with having
And you
an
guys
alliance.
were an
and
alliance, so it didn't
I was
really
totally
matter.
fine with having an alliance, and so I got kind of lucky. But what did it for me was grabbing that orbital tech
early.
early
expanding those
and building those
populations,
orbitals and getting those cubes off, and then I got one really awesome tech that let me use all of the advanced
areas.
So
that was an incredible research.
that was like the tipping point, I think, getting that research that let me then claim everything I hadn't claimed yet on the tiles I already controlled.
Well, and a big point to the orbital facility is that you're able to put out your influence cubes without having to put your action markers out, and that's huge for unlocking more of your materials or science or money.
Yeah,
it's a big deal.
So before we stop, what are you guys' thoughts? Do you guys like the game?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I think that there's still a place for big long games like Twilight Imperium, but this satisfied a lot of that need in a 2-hour
in a shorter
experience.
time period.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
as you know, a long 4X style game is not my thing. I think the Euro mechanics in something like this, as opposed to something like a Twilight Imperium, is what I enjoy at the table.
Yeah.
That the dynamic, not that I'm good at it by any means, obviously, but the dynamic that exists between what you're doing on your player board, there's a lot of different decisions to
Yes.
do. I'd like to have a little bit more experience with this game before I play it again. This is the kind of game I feel like I'd want to play with the same group of guys or girls, whomever, and play it consistently over and over and over. It'd be hard to bring this out with like your family.
Yeah, yeah.
I totally agree.
After as many plays I had, I still absolutely love this game. I love the puzzle of the technology tiles, the placing those technology tiles, using them to build different types of structures, your orbitals, your star bases, being able to upgrade your ships into different ways. That never gets old. And I don't think for me that kind of workings within the game will ever get old for me. I love that. And then also I love the fact that it's completely player controlled. As I said this many times, it depends on who you're playing with. It depends on how those hexes come out. And it completely changes the dynamic of the game every time that you play it.
I mean, I think, yeah, for sure. If we had had more interaction, or if
Right.
Dave and I had been more blocked off, or it can really change. And I think you're going to get. I think it'd be hard to play a game of this where everybody's balanced, since there is only X amount of tiles. Somebody's pushing someone out. If
Right.
you want to increase yours, somebody's going to lose out. I mean, that's just the way that a 4X game goes.
Yes.
Well, I even look back to the decisions of where I placed those opening tiles, where I pulled 3 out of my 4 opening tiles were ancient alien ships. Had I placed them on Jeremy's side of things, he would have been blocked off and may have actually come and attacked you, and Ryan and I may have had some interaction.
Or maybe you placed them where you did and you spent more turns building up ships to attack
Right,
them to be able to control those areas to get discovery tokens to
Just
boost
a
other things.
lot
Exactly.
of decisions to
Yeah.
make, right?
Yeah.
Like, not a paralyzing amount, but
No.
there are a ton of decisions.
There's a lot of information to process as you're making the decisions, right? It's the techs come out, all those upgrades come out, and it's growing and growing every round. So you look at all those things, and you're like a kid in the candy store. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that existed. Now I want it right now.
But with that said, you only have so many resources to purchase.
Yeah,
and so
right. That's
I
the
did
rub.
feel that is the rub, but I also feel that turns went by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
That it was moving at a good pace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even though it took us, a couple hours, it didn't feel like that.
No, it
No.
did not.
It felt like it kept moving pretty well. There wasn't a lot of like waiting around
Right.
or anything
Yeah.
like that.
So guys, that is Eclipse, Second Dawn for the Galaxy. I love this game. I've always loved this game. If you guys are interested in all, go back it, of course. Make comments below. If you have questions, we've all played enough. We've read the rules many times. We know all the different
He'll answer
changes.
it.
I'll
He's
probably
played
answer
with
it
all
for
of
you
us.
guys. And we will check you guys out next time. Thanks, guys.
Don't forget to go watch the live stream on the Board Game Spotlight
true.
if you're going to watch that
There you
after
go.
the final round. Or
Shameless plug.
first round, so go take a look at that.
Thanks
Take
a
care.
lot.